What one full year of heavy lifting actually does to a man over 60. What if the single most powerful anti-aging intervention available to men over 60 has been sitting in every gym on the planet this entire time, completely free, requiring no prescription and no extraordinary genetic advantage, and most men have been quietly talked out of using it? Here is a question worth sitting with honestly. If you knew that committing to heavy resistance training for one full year would measurably rewrite your DNA, rebuild your brain, permanently reset your testosterone baseline, transform your internal organs, and statistically extend your life by years, would you still be hesitant to pick up the bar? Because that is precisely what the peer-reviewed research shows happens to a man over 60 who lifts heavy consistently for 12 uninterrupted months. Not some of these outcomes, all of them, simultaneously, in the same body, over the same year. 4 shocking biological transformations, 1 mortality revelation. Let us go. Number 1, the epigenetic reversal. Heavy lifting literally rewrites your aging DNA after 60. Most men think exercise changes how the body looks. What the 12-month research data reveals is categorically more profound. Sustained heavy lifting changes how your DNA behaves at the molecular level in ways that directly counter the biological mechanisms of aging itself. Epigenetics is the science of how environmental factors, including exercise, change which genes are switched on or off without altering the underlying DNA sequence. Aging progressively switches on the wrong genes. Inflammation, muscle degradation, hormonal decline, while switching off the right ones, cellular repair, muscle protein synthesis, mitochondrial biogenesis. Heavy resistance training performed consistently over 12 months measurably reverses this pattern. Your DNA is not your destiny after 60. It is your starting point. And if you are serious about applying everything in this video with a complete structured system built specifically for your biology, the Silver Athlete Blueprint has the full training, nutrition, hormonal optimization, and V-Taper Physique protocols all in one guide built exclusively for men over 60. Scan the code on screen or check the description and pinned comment for the direct link. Now, the next transformation will challenge something you probably assumed was completely beyond the reach of any training protocol. A landmark study published in Science Advances analyzed the methylation patterns, specific epigenetic markers indicating biological age of men over 60 before and after 12 months of progressive heavy resistance training. The biological age of skeletal muscle tissue was reversed by an average of 8 years over the 12-month period. Not slowed, not stabilized. Reversed. 8 years of biological youth restored through 1 year of consistent heavy lifting. The mechanism is specific. Heavy loads above 70% of 1 repetition maximum produce maximal activation of the mTOR pathway, the master regulator of muscle protein synthesis, triggering downstream gene expression changes, including telomere maintenance, mitochondrial biogenesis, and suppression of the inflammatory gene patterns that drive accelerated aging. Light and moderate loads produce only partial activation. The heaviness is not optional, it is the biological trigger. 3 to 4 sessions weekly of heavy compound movements, squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts, rows, and overhead presses at 70 to 85% of 1 repetition maximum applied progressively over 12 continuous months is the prescription the research validates. Consistency is everything here. The epigenetic reversal is directly proportional to the continuity of the stimulus. Your DNA is not your destiny after 60. It is your starting point. And the next transformation will challenge something you probably assumed was completely beyond the reach of any training protocol. Number 2, the organ transformation. What a year of heavy lifting does to your heart, liver, and kidneys. Nobody connects heavy lifting to internal organ health, yet the 12-month research data reveals that the organs transforming most significantly during a year of sustained heavy training are not the visible muscles. They are the heart, liver, and kidneys operating silently inside the body, determining how long and how well a man actually lives. The cardiac adaptation is medically significant. Research from the European Heart Journal found that men over 60 completing 12 months of progressive resistance training showed cardiac function improvements, including ventricular ejection fraction and diastolic filling capacity, equivalent to men 10 to 15 years younger. The heart became functionally younger through 1 year of consistent heavy training. Higher stroke volume, lower resting heart rate, Greater cardiac reserve. These are not marginal improvements. They are the cardiovascular markers that cardiologists use to assess biological heart age. The liver transformation is the most surprising finding in the 12-month literature. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease affects approximately 40% of men over 60 and is one of the most significant drivers of insulin resistance and hormonal imbalance in this demographic. A study published in Hepatology found that 12 months of progressive resistance training reduced liver fat content by an average of 34% in men over 60, independent of any dietary changes. The mechanical and metabolic demands of heavy lifting improved insulin sensitivity in liver tissue and enhanced the liver's capacity to metabolize hormones, directly improving testosterone ability by reducing the enzymatic conversion of testosterone into estrogen that excess liver fat promotes. The kidney finding addresses the fear most men carry about high protein intake. Research from the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found that progressive resistance training over 12 months actually improved glomerular filtration rate, the primary measure of kidney function, in men over 60 with mildly reduced kidney function. The organs are not passive beneficiaries of a fit body. They are active participants in the transformation heavy training produces. Support these adaptations by maintaining protein at 1.6 to 2.0 grams per kilogram daily, consuming 30 grams of dietary fiber, eliminating alcohol for the first 90 days, and staying hydrated at minimum 3 liters daily. The body is rebuilding from the inside out, and the third transformation addresses the fear most men over 60 carry most quietly and most privately. Number 3, the brain reconstruction. 1 year of heavy lifting measurably rebuilds the aging male brain. The hippocampus, the brain structure most directly responsible for memory formation and new information consolidation, shrinks at approximately 1 to 2% per year after 60 in sedentary men. This hippocampal atrophy is the primary structural explanation for the memory difficulties most men attribute simply to aging. A landmark study from the University of British Columbia found that men over 60 performing heavy resistance training twice per week for 12 months showed a 12% increase in hippocampal volume compared to their baseline, a structural brain growth that directly reversed the atrophy occurring in their sedentary peers over the identical period. The prefrontal cortex, governing executive function, decision-making, and the complex strategic thinking that defines professional and personal leadership, showed parallel structural improvements. Research published in Neuroimage found measurable increases in prefrontal gray matter volume in men over 60 following 12 months of progressive resistance training that were absent in men performing aerobic exercise alone. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, what researchers call miracle grow for the brain, accumulates over 12 months of consistent heavy training to produce these structural changes. And the vascular adaptations from sustained training, improved cerebrovascular blood flow, reduced arterial stiffness, ensure the brain receives the oxygen and nutrient delivery that structural growth requires. Add 5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily. Research from Neuropsychologia found it directly improves working memory and processing speed in older adults through cerebral energy metabolism. 3 to 4 heavy sessions weekly sustained without extended breaks. The mind-muscle connection deliberately engaged in every repetition. Your brain is not declining inevitably. It is responding to the demands placed on it or suffering the consequences of the demands withheld. Before the bonus point, drop a comment telling us where you are watching from and whether this video has changed how you see the next 12 months of your training. Every comment is read. Bonus point, the mortality reversal, the shocking longevity data from men who lifted heavy for 1 full year. Here is the number that stops people mid-conversation. A comprehensive analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine examining mortality data of over 80,000 adults found that men over 60 performing progressive heavy resistance training at least twice per week had a 23% lower risk of all-cause mortality compared to men performing no strength training. 23% lower risk of dying from any cause, not a specific disease, anything. And the effect was dose-dependent. Men who trained consistently for 12 or more months showed the most dramatic mortality risk reduction in the entire dataset. Research from Age and Aging followed men over 60 who sustained heavy resistance training for a minimum of 12 consecutive months and compared their aging trajectory to inconsistent or sedentary peers. The sustained trainers showed dramatically better outcomes across every marker of functional aging: grip strength, gait speed, balance, cognitive performance, and quality of life, with differences widening progressively with each additional year. The compounding effect does not plateau at 12 months. It accelerates. Year 2 launches from an elevated biological baseline, making it more productive than year 1 in virtually every measurable dimension. The mortality reversal mechanism is the convergence of everything this video documented. Epigenetic reversal, reducing cellular aging that drives disease. Organ transformation, improving the cardiovascular, hepatic, and renal systems, determining lifespan most directly. Brain reconstruction, reducing cognitive decline, a significant independent predictor of mortality after 60, and 12 months of accumulated hormonal, inflammatory, and metabolic improvements, creating a biological environment profoundly hostile to the disease processes that kill most men after 60. 1 year. 3 to 4 heavy compound sessions weekly, progressive overload applied without compromise. That is the complete prescription. And the transformation waiting on the other side of 12 months of that commitment is one that the research describes with a consistency that leaves no room for doubt. Final thoughts. 1 full year of heavy lifting after 60 is a biological transformation at every level simultaneously. DNA rewritten toward youth, internal organs functioning younger, brain tissue rebuilt where aging targets it most aggressively, and mortality risk reduced by a margin that most pharmaceutical interventions spend billions trying to replicate. The science is settled. The transformation is real. The only remaining question is whether you will give your body the 12 months it needs to prove what it is still completely capable of becoming. If this video gave you the scientific conviction to commit to 12 months of serious heavy training, share it with one man who needs to hear that his best physical year may still be ahead of him. Subscribe to The Silver Athlete and hit the bell. Drop a like and leave your comment below. Your next video is already on screen waiting for you right now. 1 year, 1 decision, 1 completely transformed version of yourself on the other side of it. Age bold, train hard, live strong.